cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. But crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. Come on. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. Black and white.
We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the
So yeah, whenever Microsoft just count me in, bud. Here we are. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crest Autosport here for the first round of the Crest Autosport iRacing League's IndyCar Oval Series, where cars capable of going 340 kilometers an hour will do battle at some of the greatest oval racing circuits on the iRacing service. I'm Ed May, and joining me as a broadcaster for this evening is William Foyle. And this is set to be the first round of an amazing series. We have plenty of partners on board for the season. Apex Tracks. We also have Track Racer, lovely stickers, 603 Autosport, Digital Motorsport, and eSports Sim for this season. And what a season it will be. Today's race is obviously broadcast live to Crest Autosport TV via Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So if you are at any point enjoying the show, make sure to give us a like, follow, subscribe from whichever platform you are watching us from. Now, a little look forward at the schedule for this season. First round of the championship here, Homestead Miami, 100 laps of this oval in the sunshine state of Florida. And then in a week's time we go to Phoenix for 125 laps. Then the Auto Club Oval, 75 laps there before going to a flyaway round in Japan for the Twin Ring Motegi, 100 laps at that particular circuit. And then the Indianapolis 100, where the winner of this special round will win a plaque prize provided by Uncle Luke's Sign and Sticker Shop, in addition to those prizes being provided to the top 3 drivers of the championship. Then, after in Indianapolis, we go to Texas Legacy for 100 laps of that particular oval before we have a week of mid-season break. And we're right back into the action. 150 laps of Richmond, 100 laps of Kansas, 100 laps of Nashville, 75 at Michigan. The Kentucky 100 is the penultimate round, with the final round, Chicago Loud, 100 laps, rounding out the season on the 8th of December. You can see the drivers out on the circuit now, but this is just practice. They're getting their eye in. Qualifying is on the hour, 8 p.m. UK time, so in about 7 or so minutes. They only have 2 solo laps to complete within 5 minutes. And then after the qualifying, there will be a 5-minute warm-up for the drivers to get to grips with the track conditions before the race starts proper. You can, of course, as well still enter this series mid-season. There are 2 drop rounds, so while there are 12 total rounds, missing out on this one, missing out on the next one isn't going to harm too much. You will still be able to compete for glory in this championship against some very quick IndyCar drivers. Obviously, another thing to mention as well is that the winner of the series wins a fabulous prize provided by Apex Tracks, the sponsor of the series, a sculpture of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to pin up on the driver's wall. So to race for, of course, and we'll be able to see how the racing went last season. Hopefully that will be up on your screens now, where we can see the championship battle that went down to the very last lap. Will Brinkley and these Barendregt, tied on points, but Will Brinkley gaining the championship lead on the countback of race victories. Will Brinkley gaining 3 race victories compared to Thijs Barendrecht's 2. So very thin margins indeed, and hopefully we'll be free to do some more action as well for the first round of the season here at Miami. The 1.5-mile low-banked oval is a real fan favourite. High speeds, flat out all the way through, different lines being taken. It's a circuit where overtaking is at a premium, so it becomes almost a battle of wits, trying to avoid the aero wash through the corners, going high, going low, and trying to power out to the corner. It's almost like a chess match at 300 kilometers an hour, so we're going to be seeing the drivers at their very best here this evening. They also do have a fast repair available to them, so should they get involved in any instance, and the caution flag is waved. They will be able to get any damage repaired, but they need to use it wisely. They can't go repairing maybe a little bump with the wall here and there because they never know how their night can go. Trouble is always just around the bend at these ovals. Now we come to the track conditions that the drivers will be having to contend with, weather matching, of course, the real-life weather at this location. So you can see at the moment the time of day is fairly late on in the evening. You can see the wind 2 miles per hour. It is a 83 Fahrenheit track, but to you and I, in actual units that make sense, that is about something about 28 degrees Celsius on the track. So a little bit toasty, but not the hottest that we obviously be used to seeing on iRacing. You can see now cars just getting to grips with the circuit here. Following Ollie Peters at the moment. Just starting up, and obviously he's a newcomer, wasn't around, I believe, last season. But he's here to try and have a good evening. UK and Ireland driver there. And now we're going to switch to Alexander Roggenberg, the German. We have a very multinational grid up here. We have obviously drivers from Netherlands, drivers from UK and Ireland, drivers from, well, all around the world. We've also got an American, Shane Bliss, out on the circuit. So we'll see what all of them can do here at this Homestead Speedway event. In fact, hopefully we can go on board now with Shane Bliss and just see what it's like to go flat out around this oval. So hard on the power, going out of the final turn, up towards turns 1 and 2, just bending it through, taking a very tight line actually, Shane Bliss. Intriguing to note, some drivers taking tighter lines, other drivers going a bit wider into what would be obviously in NASCAR when they're racing in a pack together, something like lane 2 or lane 3 up on the higher side, but Chambers looking for a closer line, getting down towards the apron, but not putting the wheel over it because that does harm a lot of your speed. Chambers just warming up, getting up to pace. He's doing his first few laps in the book, and another thing to note as well is that tyres will be crucial. There's a big advantage between tyres that are a few laps old compared to tyres that are fresh out of the boxes, so you might be seeing some very late tyre changes in the race if there are cautions thrown up for drivers just throwing the dice and going for broke. I honestly cannot wait. This is set to be an exciting season opener here at Homestead Miami. Look at that, just blitzing on by the cameras here. So that's certainly exciting bits of kit. Flat out all the way through. Low downforce, but just enough to hug the tarmac, hug the concrete bankings. And Shane Bliss is getting quicker and quicker, more competitive by the moment, so we'll hope you see him in the pack right up there. The practice is about to come to a conclusion, and they'll be able to see the drivers come through in qualifying. Obviously 5 minutes to set 2 flying laps means that maybe the outlap won't be quite up to pace. They'll really only have 1 chance to get that quick time in the books and on the board. And then again, don't forget, it is IndyCar racing, so qualified position isn't necessarily everything, but like we've been saying, passing is at a premium here at Homestead Miami. Drivers will need to be very clever with how they approach this race, how they go about their business, and making sure they put themselves in the best possible moment when the checkered flag is waved for them after 100 laps here at Homestead. So you can see now the clock has ticked over, the end of practice is nigh. Drivers making their way into the pits, so we will be able to see all of the drivers getting ready for this qualifying session. And who will be, most importantly, first out of the box? Who will be first onto the circuit? I think it is actually Jeremy Pronk. Oh, no, Alex Everett out on the circuit now. Hopefully able to see him going around. There we go. On the escape road and onto the circuit goes Crest Autosport's very own Alex Everett. And we'll go on board. This is just the outlap, so we'll see what it's like on a lap here. The first lap will begin now. So as he crosses the line, this is it, just him and the circuit. Solo qualifying, 5 minutes, 2 laps. What can Alex pull out to the bag? What can he manage here? We'll run through the first bend and then up towards the second. What line does he take? Does he go a little bit higher? Does he go down low? He goes quite close to the apron there, but not on the white line. Leaves a bit of room there. Doesn't want to scrub the speed. You can see the inputs are minimal, almost to the top of 6th gear here. So again, just easing it into the corner and then powering it out of the exit, flat out all the way through this main Homestead Speedway lap. Into the final end now. This will be Alex's last effort, last attempt to get a quick lap time out. He's still staying in top position. This looks to be an improvement for the Crest Autosports driver. As he comes across the line, what will he know? He just narrowly misses out, so he's going to stay in pole position. But what can the others do? What can Jeremy Prunk manage? He set very good times in practice. Look at how close he gets to the wall, using all of the oval and a bit more. Can he usurp Alex Everett for the fastest time? Yes, he can. A 25.532 is enough for pole position here this evening. And he's got another lap still to come. This is looking very mighty from Jeremy Prunk on board with him now into the final banking. Look at the steering input, so smooth, not scrubbing any speed as he comes across the line. Improves even further. Only just, but still improves with a 25.517. Look at Fran Herrera, a 25.535, I believe. So not too far off, but still trying to get that extra little bit. But he makes a mistake through the final oval, through the final banking, and that will not be an improvement. But Fran Herrera, that was a very good lap towards the end there to try and take something from this. Thijs Barendregt, second place last season, looking for a bit more, but just can't find it. 3.5 hundredths of a second shy, and I think that was his final effort. Be able to see him now, though, just coming through. If there is another chance for him, comes across the line, but does not improve. So that is the it, and now we're going to switch to Alexander Roggenbuch, the German driver, the privateer entrant for this season, on board into final banking, but I think lifting off, not going for an improvement, so he is going to be staying 6th fastest at the moment. So all the action, I think, over and done within a very short space of time in qualifying. But there are drivers, I think, that are still yet to set a lap. I believe we've got Andy Scott in the serve that hopefully will be able to come out and set a qualifying time. But look at how close they are. 4 drivers within nearly half a tenth of a second, and it will be Jeremy Prunk on pole position ahead of Fran Herrera. Thijs Barendregt in 3rd with Alex Everett alongside him on that 2nd row, with Jürgen Madsby Pedersen 5th place for him. Alexander Roggenbuch, the German driver, starting in 6th. Ollie Peters, the 1-2-1 driver, in 7th place. Shane Bliss in 8th, and Andy Scott for Quantum Racing we haven't seen out on the circuit yet, so hopefully we'll be able to find out where he is and hopefully see him in line for the race. Maybe he's opting to start at the back, maybe stay out of trouble, doesn't want to be in the mid pack at risk of any cautions, which is a very, very smart thing to do. Probably being quite clever with that, because first race of the season, the drivers might not be quite to grips with how the other driver gets to drive, how their driving styles is, how they approach the corners, how hard they race, how maybe lenient they are, and all of that on the first round of the championship can throw a few cautions into the mix. So we'll hope that that doesn't happen. We hope it's a nice, clean race, but you never know in these Indy cars what can happen. The checkered flag has been dropped in qualifying, and now we have confirmation of the starting grid. Hopefully we can be able to bring that to you as the cars make their way into the warm-up session. And then, of course, after this 5-minute warm-up, the racing will get underway. 100 laps of Homestead Miami, which will be the first race of 12 here in this Crest Autosports IndyCar iRacing League. What a league it is set to be. The Oval Series is always providing exciting racing. There's a lot of detriments to it. Of course, a lot of detractors. People say, oh, they just turn left. But if you've ever watched an IndyCar oval race, the Indy 500 especially, you'll know that it is so much more than that. The thing I mentioned, a chess match at 300 kilometers an hour, I think is pretty damn accurate. It's just so fast, but also so strategic. The drivers have to be very clever with how they approach the race, not taking too much out of the tyres, maybe also saving a little bit of fuel in the tracks of the cars in front. And that obviously culminates in a very entertaining race, to say the least. So we can see now Shane Bliss out on the circuit, warming up the track state, 10% usage, but then that carries over from practice into the race. So drivers just laying down a little bit of rubber. Those times that we see on the left-hand side of the screen will probably get quicker and quicker as the race goes on. I wouldn't be surprised if we see purple times right in those final 10 laps when drivers are going for broke. They're trying to push the envelope and they are not lifting one little bit. So Alex Everett, number 3 car, will be starting on the second row of the grid. Maybe not what he was hoping for, but he can take some comfort in the fact that he was ever so close, wasn't he, to that pole position time. Just 0.05 of a second shy. Fran Herrera, the privateer driver from, I believe, Spain, but it says it's Portugal, Spain, the Iberian driver. I believe it to be Spain, but I could be proved wrong here. Doing a very good effort indeed. And let's see though how his race pace translates. He can go quick over 1 lap. Can he go quick over 100? That is the question for all of these drivers here this evening. And they need to also be sure to have a very respectable showing in terms of the championship as well. Having your drop rows taken into the account so early on is never good for you. You want those to be taken as late as possible in the season, because that means you know that you started well and carried on throughout the season. So Alexander Roggenbuck joins on to the circuit in warm-up, and we can look forward to what I would imagine is a exciting season ahead. Obviously, you've got Alex Everett, 3rd place last season, going to go maybe a couple steps better, seeking that championship victory if he can take it. But there is a fierce opposition, isn't there? All of those drivers that qualified in the top 4 tonight, very fast indeed. And even drivers that aren't here, can't make, of course, do other commitments, you know, they'll be hungry as well. They'll be watching this to eye up the competition, see what they're like, and maybe if they see Alex Everett spinning around, maybe they'll think, oh, that'll be good. We'll hope that happens a bit more. But that was a nice pit entry, I think, from Alex Everett, spinning it around and then just bring it nice and safely into the pit lane. Look at this though, Shane Bliss, very quick, 200 miles per hour. Very fast indeed these Indy cars go, where your backside is only a few inches from the ground. It feels a lot faster than just 200 miles per hour. I can assure you, it feels like you're going supersonic. It is absolutely amazing. The warm-up is about to come to an end. The final 30 seconds, the drivers will be counting that down in their minds. They'll know that the first round of the season is but a few moments away. Making sure that they're in the right headspace, making sure that the plan is refreshed in their mind when they're going to pit, what they're going to do if there are caution flags, when the last possible moment is that they're comfortable taking tyres at the end should there be a late caution. What is that cut-off point for them? What will they do towards the end of the race in terms of strategy as well, if there isn't any cautions? Because let's not forget, well, we do have a few drivers. There aren't too many to have incidents with, so you could obviously get through this without any caution flags being raised, but we'll see how that materializes come the race, which is about to get underway. You can see the drivers now getting ready for the race. They're ready to grid up, and we can hopefully run you through the starting order. So Jeremy Pronk for the Dutch Sim Racing team has pole position by just 200ths of a second to Fran Herrera, the privateer driver, number 4 in number 2 spot. Then the second row, Thijs Barendregt in 3rd place, ahead of Alex Everett for Crest Autosport. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen, 5th place for him. He makes up the front of the 3rd row with Alexander Roggenbuch in 6th place. Ollie Peters will be starting 7th place ahead of Shane Bliss for Shadow Sim Racing. And then Andy Scott for Quantum Racing will round out the field. And I think we were right. Andy Scott has made it onto the racing circuit, onto the speedway, and is going to be starting from the back. So maybe having a bit more of a smarter approach, a bit more measured, and staying at the back, staying out of trouble and looking to maybe pick up the pieces should there be an early caution. But then the focus shifts to the man alongside Fran Herrera, I believe, Jeremy Pronk for the Dutch Sim Racing team. It's just him and the circuit and 8 other drivers that will be hungry to take away that leading spot from him at the moment. So the Dutch Sim Racing team driver is about to get this race underway. You can see the lights on the pace car. The pace car will be coming in at the end of this first pace lap. It's in, and now Jeremy Pronk can set the pace, and he has set it quick. He is gone already this evening. So first lap underway already, and look at this, they're going through wide. Fran Herrera getting boxed in. A bit of a squeeze there between himself and Thijs Barendregt. They're racing on by Jeremy Pronk in the lead, and it is Alex Everett 2nd place now, making that move around the outside, getting it to stick. And look who's coming up on the inside. Fran Herrera will have the advantage into first bend, and then loses out, gets a bit of error watch from the car in front. Alex Everett trying everything he can on that high line to power through and keep in touch with Nine leader, also got the advantage over Fran Herrera, but Fran Herrera still keeping it side by side. They're going to be 2 abreast for basically an entire lap. The advantage goes the way early on for Alex Everett, but then mid-corner, you can see the inside line really starts to favour Fran Herrera, but not for too long. He backs out of that move, and I think our timing software is having a little bit of a moment. I can only see Andy Scott, sorry, on the left-hand side. So hopefully we can refresh the overlay and get that all up and running. But if not, we'll be able to still talk you through the action nevertheless and let you know who is where. So as lap 4 is in the books, Jeremy Pronk still leads the field ahead of Alex Everett. Fran Herrera in 3rd with fourth spot being occupied by Thijs Barendregt. The Dutch driver there ahead of the German Alexander Roggenbuch in 5th, Shane Bliss 6th, Mansby Pedersen in 7th, and Andy Scott in 8th position. Ollie Peters down the order in 9th position at the moment, so not sure what happened to Ollie Peters early on, but he seems to be a little bit off the pace. Maybe a take where he had to enter the pit lane and come out the pits. Hopefully we might have a replay to see exactly what happened there, because it's saying it came into the pits. Now the pits might be a matter of having a qualifying set still on and not having enough fuel. Oh no, it wasn't. A big slide there from Ollie Peters, and then he decides to come into the pits. A very strange one. I think he is back out on the circuit though, so that shouldn't have harmed him too much, but it definitely did do his tyres any good. That's for certain. Look at this though, up in front. Jerry Pronk has the advantage, has a 1.7 second lead to Alex Everett. So what has happened there? It's been a good start so far from number 52. As we come now to the mid-pack, Shane Bliss closing in on Jordan Mansby Pedersen. Alex Everett there, second place, and now come back to Shane Bliss. You can see 3 cars all together. Shane Bliss ahead of Andy Scott, but John Matsui Pedersen ahead of the 3 of them. But Shane Bliss always had a bit of a moment there, slowed down mid-corner, and that is going to open the door for Andy Scott down the inside. Is he going to take that position? Yes, he does. So the Quantum Sim Racing driver really benefiting from that. Shane Bliss losing out on that occasion, unfortunately. Fran Herrera now we can come back to and see that he's dropped back as well for Alex Everett. So those front 3 starting to get a little bit of time between them all. Fran Herrera about 1.3 seconds back from Alex Everett, with Thijs Barendregt, last season's second place finisher, landing 4th and a second away, just under a second away from 3rd place. But the gaps are starting to open out here, which is intriguing to see. I would have expected that maybe the slipstream would have an effect, but of course the aero wash is deadly here at Miami. It so scrubs the speed, slows you down a hell of a lot. And unfortunately, I think we've seen Alex Everett taking the full brunt of that. But Jeremy Plonk won't be too upset. He'll be loving it out in the front with all that clear track space. The only thing that could ruin that for him would be a caution. So we'll be hoping against hope that that doesn't happen. And he'll just be able to go to the plan, pit on the laps that he needs to, take the tyres when he needs to, and come through to take what he will hope to be a nice and easy race victory. But there are no easy victories in IndyCar. There is always just one more surprise just around the corner. I'm going to follow Fran Herrera for a bit now. I'll see what his lap times are like, see if there's any inroads he can make on Alex Everett at this present moment in time. Maybe pop on board with the privateer Iberian driver and see how he's approaching the corners. So up to the top of 5th gear and takes his quite a good one actually, just sort of dipping down into lane 1 but not one too close, making sure the speed stays up, means that you're not scrubbing the tyres as well by taking these slightly higher lines and softer turnings. A little bit more in terms of turning there, dipping down into 4th gear, back up into 5th, going at 210 miles per hour nearly as they come into the 2nd bend. Just shows, doesn't it, the speed that these Indy cars can reach, going nearly 200 miles an hour over the whole lap. But Alex Everett has been pulling out the advantage lap after lap. That gap is now 2 seconds. So in terms of race pace, Jeremy Plonk, Alex Everett in a class of their own, but Jeremy Plonk far and away the fastest man out on the circuit at the moment. Look at that, the time is coming through very good from the Dutch Sim Racing team driver. I don't know what he can do in terms of the tyre life though. When will that start to go away? And we've got the caution. Yellow flag is out. And what has happened there? Has there been a moment? Has there been a crash? I think there has been. It's been for Jorgen Matsby Pedersen. Oh, he spins out. Does he keep the car out of the wall? Just about. Good control there. He tries to come back into the pits. Does he do so? I think yes. So he's been able to just about get into the pits after completely cooking his tyres. I think he kept it out of the wall though. Hopefully we can go to another replay and see exactly how that happened, maybe on board and find out. So this was him opting to just come into the pits. You can see he had to always drive backwards a little bit and then make his way around the yellow bollards. Or does he go into the pits? Does he come back out? No, he does come into the pit lane there, making sure he doesn't get penalised for driving the wrong way. He can get away with it a little bit, but not too much. Oh, the cars are all under caution now. What on earth is Alex Everett doing? Opting to not be a IndyCar, opting to be a lawnmower for the moment. Thinking about, oh, that was actually just a little bit of a moment underneath the apron where the car just bit him, and the change in banking from the right side to the left. But he comes into the pits. I don't know if you can come into the pits at this point. I don't know if the pit road is open, but Alex Everett, I'm guessing it must be if he's taking advantage of this now. So the Crest Autosport driver opted to come in, maybe fix the under tray of the car with a fast repair. But that will potentially leave him risky to a little bit of trouble. He's going to see what the damage is. If it's not too bad, then he'll obviously uncheck the fast repair and carry on his way, get some fresh tyres on. Jeremy Pronk staying out for the moment. See, the lights are on the iRacing pace car. Close the pack right back up. But we were saying this was the one thing that Jeremy Pronk didn't want to have happen. He didn't want a caution flag to be raised at this stage. He wanted to go on green flag for as long as possible and build that advantage. Maybe get a pit stop in the books, but that wasn't to be. So now the field closes up. And hopefully, while we wait for drivers to come into the pits, which they do now, we could maybe have another look at that initial incident for Jürgen Masvi Pedersen, because it looked like he just took a little bit too much into the corner and the rear broke traction. Yes, it was. You could just see there, car sliding out. I think he did keep it out of the wall. There's no damage done to the car on the front or on the rear. Only damage, I think, to his pride, unfortunately, but he'd be able to come into the pits, get a fresh set of tyres on and keep the good times rolling, hopefully. Drivers now making their way out of the pits, being Alexander Roggenbuck, Shane Bliss actually coming... Actually, no, these aren't drivers coming out of the pits. These are drivers coming into the pits, rather. So, drivers opting to take tyres out. Alexander Roggenbuck up on the jacks, taking tyres, coming back down and going on his way. Same with Shane Bliss, and it's a race between the pits, between himself and, I believe that to be Madsby Pedersen, coming in for the second time. And coming out just behind Shane Bliss for the moment. So they will be able to catch back up to the pace car train, which is obviously headed by Jeremy Pronk, the Dutch sim racing team driver. Put in a great effort, didn't he, up at the start of the race. Of Fran Herrera, Alex Everett, Thijs Barendregt, Andy Scott, Alexander Roggenbuck, Shane Bliss, and then Ollie Peters and Jürgen Madsby Pedersen down there 8th and 9th. Lights are still on the pace car, so we might do a quick refresh of the timing software just to make sure everything's all right. We can see that the overlay isn't working. We're going to try and do our best to get that fixed up for you. But in the meantime, hopefully you have been enjoying the first stage of green flag running, and there we go. It's all refreshed. It's all looking nice and good. You can see it all without me having to repeat everyone's position each time by. So good stuff all through. You can see the gaps as well. Obviously, these are gaps under pace car, so they will obviously change about a little bit. I think this could be, yeah, this is the final lap. You can see the lights are out on the pace car, so Jeremy Pronk will be able to set the pace of the field when the next come by. You can see they've just gone past the pit exit. When they come towards pit entry, the pace car will peel off, and Fran Herrera will look to chase down that race lead, see if he can take the race victory as well on the account of having a good run. Driver to watch out for, of course, Alex Everett with fresh tyres. What can he do on this second phase of green flag running here at Homestead Miami? So, Jeremy Pronk, he's going to set the pace now. He goes, gets the racing back underway. Green flag wave leaves Fran Herrera in his wake. He seemed to be caught napping, and immediate Alex Everett going for the move down the inside, and he's going to take that no problem. That was Ollie Peters, just put a little bit out of position, so Alex Everett stays third for the moment. Going to keep an eye on his pace, see how much he can close in to Fran Herrera and Jeremy Pronk on these fresher tyres. Through the bends now, you can see actually there's a little bit of a run from Ollie Peters. So Ollie Peters, even if he is a lap down and out of position, he is certainly no slouch. Taking this higher line, keeps the speed up. This is one of the lines that really can work for you. I'm surprised I've seen so many drivers going down to the tighter line. The outside really working at the moment for Ollie Peters. 8th place, but he still wants to have a bit of fun, still wants to mix it with the big boys and see if he, maybe if his early race didn't go the way it did, he could be really up there fighting for a position. Look who else is trying to come through as well. Thijs Barendregt for the basic racing team. See if there's a way through following after Alex Everett. All of this though, this side-by-side running isn't helping Alex at all. He's going to be trying to get the tyres at their very best to close into Fran Herrera and Jeremy Bronk, but it isn't quite to be. And actually, Alex Everett has the slot in behind now and could be vulnerable because look at this, blitzing his way around the outside. Thijs Barendregt takes the position, takes third place. So an excellent move around the outside from the Dutchman to take third place from Alex Everett. And now is there a problem potentially? Is this on the account of that damage on the underfloor of that car not being repaired yet? See on board maybe what that is like. Oh, this is a replay of Thijs Barendregt making that move around the outside. Look at the speed he took. Had to take a little bit of a correction to avoid contact with Alex Everett as Alex got a lot of aero wash. And all of a sudden he's dropping back lap after lap now, corner by corner. So there must be something going on with that Crest Autosport IndyCar there. The number 3 not looking too healthy in terms of lap time. That was a 26.3. So not quite up to pace, but the fastest personal best for Thijs Barendregt just been set last lap. He is a very quick pedaler at the moment, quickest on the circuit last time by. They're trying to find any way through. That's a good run there, keeping out of the aero wash. And then he's going to take the inside line. Maybe not get squeezed too shallow if he can help it. No, keeps well away of the apron. And that's an easy pass for the Dutchman for basic racing team. So up ahead now of the number 6 car of Ollie Peters. Now 6th place for him. Jeremy Bronk up in front. Well, carrying on as he started. He started so he'll finish. He's looking to finish very, very strongly as he's got nearly 2 seconds clear of Fran Herrera this time by. I'm going to have a replay of a crash just at the start. And, oh, that's a big, big crash. Team Madsby Pedersen. And who was that? Shane Bliss, I believe. 2 drivers seemingly taken out of the equation. And that was how Ollie Peters managed to get up into 6th place. Oh my word, that was a big, big moment. I was amazed we didn't see another caution flag being waved there. There was a lot of debris on the circuit, but green flag running carries on as we overlay towards the end of lap 28. Jeremy Bronk up in front. Ollie Peters just staying with Thijs Barendregt at the moment. This is going to help him out should there be any cautions. After all, the drivers around him pit, a very well timed caution could still put him back in step with those around him. He is definitely going to try and take something back from this, take this lap back, because his pace has been very strong so far. But Thijs, I think he's gone through the best of his tyres now. Was closing into Fran Herrera, but just last time by that was a 26.5, a couple of tenths shy. So isn't able to close into Fran Herrera. Just losing touch a little bit with those lead 2. We're going to go to the front and see exactly the aforementioned Fran Herrera. As we are into lap 30 now of 100. And it's been an amazing race so far from Jeremy Bronk. Domination, I think, has to be the word to use, because from start till now he has been just a class above the rest. No one's been able to touch him. No one's been able to run with him. Dirty air, the aero wash been causing all the other drivers to lose out, and he's just taking such a good line. He has that car set up beautifully. Let us do exactly this. Go on board with a lap of Jeremy Bronk. Just look at the lines he takes through, the amount of speed he carries. You can see, ooh, a little bit of a twitch there. It just shows that it's not plain sailing. He's going to get to the end of the tyre life, just passing, I believe that to be Shane Bliss, who was on pit exit following that damage. I think that was definitely a safety stop being taken, taking that repair, fast repair, and now he's going to be without any other sort of safety net at the moment for Shane Bliss. Jeremy Bronk though for the Dutch Sim Racing team can see it always at turn 1. He has to have a little bit of a correction just to get the car back into grips, and that is because he's pitting in now. Those tyres we saw on board, they were past their best, and now he can follow him into the pit lane and watch Fran Herrera, I believe, as just about gets the car stopped in time for the limiter line. Fran Herrera now clear track in front. He knows this has got to be a very quick in lap if he can get it in the books. Let's see what he can manage here. Is he up when it comes to pits? No, not at the moment. It seems staying out for a little while longer. It didn't pit under the safety car either, so he's been staying out for quite some time now. You can see the lap times going down just a little bit as Jeremy Pronk now exits the pit lane, exits pit road in 6th place. Got to really do Fran Herrera a world of good, and I think throw Jeremy Pronk into a bit of disarray would be a caution now at this phase of the race. That would really throw the captain's weakness, as Alex Everett has gone up into 2nd place now. So for all the struggles that we thought he was suffering early on, he's seemingly back on pace. This was the pass. This was him getting through just down the inside. Able to take that with a minimum of fuss. Could be, of course, on account of Thijs Barendregt tyres just falling off somewhat of a cliff. Alex Everett did pit under the last caution period, so has fresh pair of boots underneath him to carry on. But I'll tell you what, Fran Herrera has been staying out for so long now. We're on to lap 37 as the fastest lap now from Jeremy Pronk. So the Dutchman is on a mission. Very quick lap time's being taken there as I hear a bit of a moment there. I think I heard some damage or maybe a scrape into the wall potentially. I'm not sure. It seemed like something was getting crunched, but no yellow flags, no cautions. So on the carries, that last lap time, Jerry Pronk 25.8, whereas all the drivers in front doing mid-26s. So the longer that Fran Herrera stays out, further back he will be. And actually, I think Alex Everett has just passed him as, yes, into the pits comes Fran Herrera now. So the Iberian driver from the lead pits, and now Alex Everett will start the 39th lap of running here at Homestead Miami Speedway in 1st position. That pit under the safety car could be a very smart decision indeed, should there be another caution period to come. Going to see though, where is Jeremy Pronk going to follow him through, because that was the battle for 1st place just a little while earlier. Jeremy Pronk going through and passes Fran Herrera, who's just on pit exit now, so has been setting very quick lap times, consistent high to mid 25s as Jeremy Pronk. Lap times that no one else has been able to match, no one else has been able to compete with. Fran Herrera there slots back into 6th place. They are battling up ahead. This is between Thijs Barendregt and I believe that's Ollie Peters, who just comes through. So Ollie Peters is desperate to try and get a lap back, and he isn't too far off of Alex Everett, to give him credit, about 1.5 seconds. Might be starting to frustrate Thijs Barendregt a little bit, but he doesn't need to fight this. He's got better sort of strategy in terms of the right stage of the race. He's been carrying on for a while. I don't believe he pit underneath the safety car. Was that Alex just kissing the wall a little bit up in front? I think he's gotten away with that, but he is pushing the limits just a little bit. Really absolutely sending it into 3-play turns 1 and 2, and then coming through 2 and 3 here. And we have a replay here. This was Jeremy Pronk passing Fran Herrera. I believe that was under the pits. So that was Jeremy Pronk. That was how he was able to make that position under the pit strategy. But Jeremy Pronk is actually, I think, closing in to a bit of a battle here, trying to find a way past, if I am right, yes, Ollie Peters and Thijs Barendregt. So he is obviously lapped out on the road at the moment, but we will go on board now just to see what the difference is between fresh tyres and old. Thijs has been out for about 40 laps now. Jeremy Pronk, look at this. No troubles whatsoever for the Dutchman, who carves his way through down the inside. That's taken with a minimum of fuss, I think we'll have to agree. Is now trying to find a way past Ollie Peters. Difference in line being taken as well. You can see Jeremy Pronk now with his tyres are a little bit fresher, going a bit closer down to the white line. Whereas before, when his tyres were that little bit older, stayed slightly higher. But of course, the key thing is when you're following a car in front. Oh, as he slightly kisses the wall there, touches the wall, but I think gets away with it. Doesn't look like there's any damage done to the front of the side of the car there. Gets away with it and gets through on Ollie. So good little move on that. Thijs Barendregt seeing all of that unfolding in front of him. Very Pronk there up into 4th place now, and looking to try and take a lap back on Alex Everett, who is now about 2 or so seconds up the road. You can see him now, expecting to see him in the pits at some stage in the next maybe 10, 15 laps perhaps. Crest Autosport driver leading this race will really be hoping for a caution to put him in the mix. He essentially gets a free pit stop and doesn't get put behind the likes of, obviously, all those around him. Andy Scott there up into 3rd place. Good stuff from the Quantum Racing driver. Number 13 is unlucky for some, but not for him, because he's up into the podium places, having a very good job of looking to keep that as well. 26.8 at this stage of the race isn't too bad, of course, with the tyres getting a bit more worn every lap. Jeremy Pronk 26.2, so he's just gotten past the best of his tyres, but still up about 4/10 of a lap faster than our race leader outside what you can see just behind the shot going by us now. Very quick times being set in this first race of the season. We're about to come up to the halfway point as well. Lap 50 has just been started by Alex Everett. And I'll tell you what, this flies by. It goes by in, well, 25 minutes. So, even with a caution phase, this race is absolutely blitzing on by. Jeremy Pronk, though, what can he do? This isn't going to be for, in terms of track position, well, not in terms of actual race position, but this is for obviously getting the place on the road ahead of Alex Everett. Just so important, isn't it, though, for the next phase of pit stops. If he can get in front, which he does, if there would be a caution flag waved now, Jeremy Pronk would be able to come into the pits now and effectively come towards the back of the train on the lead lap. But don't forget, Alex Everett does need to come into the pits within the next 10 laps. So we'll be keeping our eyes on him. He's definitely getting his tyres past his best. Going to be nursing him through now this stage of the race. And it comes to the point now where, what does he do? Does he try and eke it out and maybe wait for a caution flag, wait for a caution period? Ideally, he wants to pit maybe on lap 66, because then that... Well, I'm trying to think now, because if he pits on lap 66, he could go until the end. But if he was to pit now, to make it, but it will be some ask, I think, to make it that long on these tyres. Alex Everett for Crest Autosport then leads the field, but with shot tyres. We're going to see actually on board what it's like to do a lap around here with tyres that are, well, around about 40 or so laps old. So that's when you can see he's having to turn the wheels so much more than Jeremy Pronk. We go a lap on with Alex, just finish this, and we're going to come to it's just ahead of him on the road just to see how much it is, but he's having to turn so much more, and also that's probably on account of the aero wash that he's suffering from. Jürgen Matthew. Listen. We're trying to move that brake jack around a lot, just trying to get the car to turn to respond to him. Seems to have gotten it a little bit easier through there, but he's still having to do a lot more of an input on the wheel to get it to turn, to get it to do what he wants. down into fourth gear, closes into but look at that, as soon as he dips into the dirty air, the air wash is massive, and he has to lift that hugely. So Alex Everett for Crest Autosport, kind of stuck at the moment, doesn't have the tyres to run in the tracks of another car. We'll look to try and come through and pass Morgan Maxby Pedersen. I'm going to go for a replay here just to see Alexander Brinkley passing. I believe that was a pass in the pits. So that was sixth place as Ollie Peters does finally come into the pits. Was out for quite a while. He's since made a second pit stop, I believe, for himself. Alex Everett, he will be crying out for a caution now, I am sure. Because as it stands, he will need to make couple more stops if he was to pit on this lap. If he can make it to around about lap 60 or so, maybe just a little bit later, lap 65, that could see him all right until the end of the race. I say could because you never know how much you're going to use your tyres, how much the track will let you get away with, and as well with the late caution that can really start to throw up a few surprises. But this is the period where you could see a few cautions coming through in terms of tyre life dropping away, drivers making mistakes, a bit of fatigue setting in as we approach now lap 60 of 100 here at Homestead Miami. First place of the season is definitely a cagey affair, drivers sizing each other up and seeing how they will navigate the rest of the season in terms of strategy, because they can take a lot of lessons from here. It's always a learning experience in any round of a championship, especially the first round here. Alex Everett leading the field still, just trying to see the difference as well. Now we can go hopefully on board to Jeremy Pronk, I believe, who, like we say, has fresher tyres, and just see how much he has taken into the corners with fresher aerobics. You can see now just how the car responds now. So coming into the final speedway turn 2 and 3, or turns 3 and 4 rather, all the way through. Just so much softer on the steering inputs. You can see the car responding to nicely as he now passes Thijs Barendregt, fourth place. Easy pass in the pits for Jeremy. Getting close to the wall there, but that's a sign that he is really using all of the speed. Oh, scraping the wall. That's not going to help him whatsoever. He's going to be hoping that there's no damage dealt there, because that was very scary all of a sudden for Jackson as the team driver. You can see the car almost got stuck there, and it's very wise to lift out the throttle to maybe play about the weight as well to see if he can get the car to turn away from the wall. He did. Just looking at the front end of that car, I think he's gotten away with it. It looks very close. He was just saying how close he was getting to the walls. It's usually a sign of a driver that is at home at the oval of how close they're willing to get to the walls, how much they're willing to push. I think we're going to see Jerry Pronk just taking it a little bit easier at the moment after that scare, and realising that he's still got a good position now. If Alex Everett and Andy Scott need to pit, which they do, they'll come through and have a very commanding race lead, because the advantage to, well, Fran Herrera, the battle that was between first and second, Jeremy Pronk and Fran Herrera, was about 2 seconds, is now up to 10. Such is this second stint pace from Jeremy Pronk. It has been absolutely electric. But Alex Everett, he's carrying on, he's doing a very, very good job, and if he was to come in now, he would make it until the end of the race should there be no further cautions. And I believe actually Jeremy Pronk is expected to make another pit. He came in on lap 33 after a period of caution flag running that matched the pack up, which might have been a little bit of a misstep from the Dutch Sim Racing team driver, but his pace has looked very strong. He's going to be able to have fresher tyres than most at the moment. He's going to use it to his advantage. Well, he has been using it to his advantage closing in that margin to Alex Scott as Alex Everett comes into the pits now. So from the lead of the race, the number 3 Crest Autosport IndyCar makes his way down pit road. Alex Everett from the lead will drop back. Where will he come out? He was in a battle with Thijs at Barendregt, but let's not forget Thijs has been doing a few laps on fresher tyres. The advantage should be his. As Jeremy Prunk now comes through into second place, but he needs to make a further pit stop, so a caution flag will be just what Jeremy Prunk is hoping for now. But he comes into the pits. Jeremy Prunk coming into the pits. So Jeremy Prunk opting to take pit stops at varying different times. This is the strategy. I think he's pitting on lap 33 or around about 33, and then around about lap 66. I thought he'd be trying to go maybe for a caution flag period and see if that would play into his hands. Alex Everett could be on for a great race victory here, depending on how this all shakes up, because this has been turned on his head. The fastest driver on circuit, make no bones about it, has been Jeremy Prunk. But in terms of the strategy, this could be going all the way to Alex Everett. It's all depending on this final stage, because Alex Everett, he's made his final pit stop. It's all about what those around him do. Fran Herrera would expect to see him in for another hit. We expect to see maybe, could be close between Alex Everett and Thijs Barendregt. But Andy Scott there coming into the pits. So now Fran Herrera will be expected to come through and lead the 70th or 71st lap of running here at Homestead Miami. And he comes through ahead of Andy Scott. Alex Everett third. Where is Jeremy Prunk? Jeremy Prunk still in 5th, so not been able to make advantage of his pace that he was showing. Strategy just not working for us. So Alex Everett now, Crest Autosport, closing in to Thijs Barendregt. We're going to go on board. Hopefully, as Jeremy Prunk sets the fastest lap of the race, 25.7, very quick time. So he is definitely on a mission. Alex Everett, fresh tyres, only able to do a 26.1. But the gap is huge between Prunk and Everett. Needed 20 seconds in this late stage of the race. I can't imagine that being caught up without any sort of intervening pace car at the moment, any intervening caution period. So this could be Alex Everett's chance to take glory here as he's closing in to Thijs Barendregt. You can see now the interval, less than a second. Yellow indicates less than a second. When it gets to orange, that's half a second and under. Alex is on a mission. He's done this strategy to perfection. Putting under the caution period at the start has helped him to no end. This has been an inspired drive from the Crest Autosport. We're going to go on board now. Drivers, I can. So I've been enjoying the drivers I can. Both used in Formula 1 just at the weekend. I believe on board with George Russell for that one. It gives a good sense of what the drivers are able to see, what it's like to be in the cockpit of an open wheel racing car doing 200 odd miles per hour. And Alex Everett's view is slightly no different, is it? Absolutely blitzing his way through the twists and turns, the banking of Homestead Miami. Sunshine State, even though it's a moonlight race, it's still going to be shining night for Alex Everett if he can come through, if he can take first place away from Thijs Barendregt and get his season off to a flying start. There's a lot of air rush coming through there, and that was what we saw Alex Everett struggling with a little bit earlier, is that he gets thrown off a little bit in terms of air rush, but he dips down now. You can see the advantage he gets as soon as he doesn't have the air rush, the fresher tyres. It's massive, and up in front, Thijs Barendregt from the back markers had a huge amount of air rush, had to back out massively, and all of a sudden Alex Everett, he's got a twitch, he's got a slide on, but he keeps control as the lift out. That was scary stuff. You could see him dipping his left-hand side wheels into the apron. The car did not like that one bit. Twitchy stuff. And Alex Everett did very well to regain control and make sure there wasn't an incident, because that would have been huge, seeing two of the front runners seemingly taken out of the equation. Now Alex Everett opts to go the long way around, dips into the coattails. Now Thijs Barendregt gets the slipstream, gets the run. Again forced outside wide. Oh, almost a little bit of contact, a little bit of wheel touching perhaps, as they make their way now into turns 3 and 4. And now Alex Everett with almost a switchback manoeuvre. That's something you'd see on a road course. He's going to go for it. And is it going to work? He's going to have the inside line for turns 1 and 2. Do you know what? I think he's got this. Alex Everett now into the lead of the race. The first round of the season here at Homestead Miami Speedway is going brilliantly for this man. Alex Everett started in 4th, now into 1st. But can he stay that way? 78 laps gone. And there's 100 that need to be completed, so we're coming now to the phase of the race where the laps will get counted down and down. The drivers will anticipate what will happen at the end, get ready to make any late calls into the pit should there be a late safety car required, a late caution flag period, as some of the drivers start to push that little bit harder. Mistakes can start to creep on in. We've already seen a moment between, I believe that was Jordan Madsby Pedersen and Shane Bliss after the first caution period where two cars came together. Hopefully we won't see any more of that, however, and it's a nice clean fight up until the end, especially up in front, seeing what the likes of Thijs Barendregt can do to try and respond, but there's no way to do so. This is the tyre advantage coming through. The thing we touched on at the start is so big around this circuit because of how difficult passing is around here in terms of the aero wash. These long flat out bankings really do hamper the ability to follow closely through these turns, and the strategy comes through. And the driver that has, I think, got the strategy nailed down was Alex Everett, but the driver that's been faster than this man, Jeremy Pronk, but he just hasn't been able to get it to work. I think if he had pitted under the safety car caution period, could be looking at a very different picture. But the way he's approached this race, the way he's gone about it, he's still been very quick, hasn't he? Pitting on consistent, easy intervals, lap 33 and lap 68. And he's going to go all the way till the end. His tyres are in a slightly better shape to Alex Everett, and he has closed the gap down now to around about 17 seconds to the leader. But I don't think he'll be able to make up all of that time come the end of the race. Alex Everett's times are still good, a 26.2. Very nice indeed from the Crest Autosport driver up at the front of the race. So he's managing it very well, is Alex Everett. But we do see late on in this stint the car can go away from him, whereas Jeremy Pronk does look strong all the way through the stint. 0.2 of a second the difference between Alex and Jeremy. So again, there's no real way for Jeremy to close in quickly enough for his liking, but there is some battling out on the circuit. I think that was Ollie Peters getting ahead of Fran Herrera just now. They are dicing for position, they are side by side. This is for 5th place on the road. Fran Herrera just in front, but Ollie Peters is looking very racy, trying to find a way past. We're going to see the back marker in front of Jorgen Madsby Pedersen. It's not purposefully getting in the way, it's just very difficult when you are put out of position in terms of pace and when the aero wash is so deadly. Ooh, a couple of sparks flying there. I think that was just because of how low Fran Herrera has his car set up. It wasn't a contact with a wall, I think that was just the front wing scraping against the banking theirs. Ooh, that was close, wasn't it, between Fran Herrera and Madsby Pedersen there, dipping to the right, dipping to the left. An airplane crash we saw there, and that would throw a caution. That would throw Alex Everett's race into, well, dire straits perhaps, as that advantage he's built up would start to get eaten up and erased almost. Look at this though. Fran Herrera and Ollie Peters now starting to separate just a touch. I think Ollie Peters was held up a little bit, maybe thrown off of his rhythm a bit by trying to pass all of those back markers. Another back marker getting involved in at the moment. I believe that to be Shane Bliss in the number 27 in 8th place. hopefully he gets out of the way and allows this to be a good clean fight. I think he has gotten away out of the way of Fran Herrera. So this fight will carry on now. We're coming into the final 12 laps of racing here as Alex Everett on lap 88. He's looking very good for the race victory, consistently building his advantage and making sure that he isn't getting caught by very fast and hard charging Jeremy Pronk. And this is how you win an IndyCar race, not just on pure raw pace, but on strategy as well, on pitting at the right times, coming out at the best possible moment. And you know what? This has been cracking stuff from Alex Everett here this evening. Just needs to bring it through till the end. Hope that there's no cautions. And then he will take the first race victory of the season here at Homestead Miami. You'll take the opportunity as well, if you have been enjoying all of the action this evening on Crest Autosport, to give the stream a bit of a like, give it a share on whichever platform you have been enjoying the action on. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Crest Autosport TV, it's all the same. And make sure as well to subscribe, because there are plenty more races still to come in this season. Like we say, in a week's time we go to Phoenix for 125 laps there, and that will definitely be a treat. You can count on that. Though there has been a moment Shane Bliss has crashed into the wall. He keeps it going, keeps it off the racing surface. I think that's going to escape a potential safety car incident. Yes, it does. No cautions being, as you can see, green flag running now, and I believe this could be green flags until the end, all the way for Alex Everett, because obviously Shane Bliss was outside of track limits. There wouldn't be a caution for that. He's able to carry on. Nice action here. Alex Everett doing a brilliant job. And as well, as we were saying, make sure you stick around. And of course, thank you to main sponsor Apex Tracks for sponsoring this season. Motor Racing Circuit wall and art race track sculptures that you can put on your wall. They do look very nice. I have been looking at a few of them actually in my spare time, looking for a wall when I've maybe got my own place, maybe even just spruce up my student accommodation, because it is obviously easily portable. It's not something that is too hard to move around, and it's just a nice little piece to have on your wall and decorate your room a bit. So, of course, thank you very much to Apex Tracks for sponsoring the season, as well as all of the other partners we have on board. Track Racer, lovely stickers, 603 Autosport, Digital Motorsport, and eSport Sim. Of course, entries are still open for the season, so if you do want to get involved in all of the action here, you can get involved. Just go to obviously crestautosport.com. £5 to join for the whole season, or if you want to do it on a race by race basis, it's 50p per race, but it does work out a little bit cheaper even now to join for £5 and do every single race. Still to come, 11 races, of course, to come after this one. And now we're going to be seeing, look, Jeremy Pronk has been closing in, but not enough. Andy Scott, Quantum Racing, good drive from him as well, making up 5 positions. He started all the way at the back. We were wondering if we were going to see him out on track. We do see him out on track, and it's worked very nicely for him. Maybe part of him will wonder if he was able to qualify and stick with that front pack, how different his race would have been. Nevertheless, it has been a very good effort for UK and Ireland driver Alex Everett, though. This is the dream night for him. He's just got a few more laps to go, a few more turns of this Homestead Miami Speedway circuit, and he will take the first race of the season in stunning fashion, getting the strategy to work brilliantly for him, making up places as well when he had to on a circuit where it is tricky to get a passing move. The air wash, as we've seen, has been very tricky to contend with, but Alex Everett has bested them all and come through for an excellent drive. It's going to start lap 99 now, just 2 more turns of this Homestead Miami Speedway circuit, and Alex Everett will be a race victor. We're going going to go on board with him now for this final few minutes before, obviously, the moment when he crosses the line. It's been a tough race for everyone here, trying to come to grips with the circuit. You can see now on board, look up there to the right, the white flag is being waved. It greets Alex Everett, and he will have a smile a mile wide, a mile and a half wide, to reflect a mile and a half of Homestead Miami Speedway. There's one more turn of the banking to go, and Alex Everett will be a race winner. Having to fight hard, but the strategy worked for him. Pitting under the caution on the first phase was inspired, and Alex Everett comes through to take the first race victory of the season here at Homestead Miami. Cracking drive from the Crest Autosport driver. Strategy working brilliantly, and if this was a 300-kilometer-an-hour chess match, that would be checkmate for Alex Everett. A cracking drive ahead of Thijs Barendregt. Second place. Just missing out, but still a good strategy to pit and obviously come out in front of a very quick Jerry Pronk, who I think will be left feeling that there was something more to come from that race, from the margin of sort of lead he built out over the first stint, and then obviously that first caution. From then he never looked like he was going to recover. But now the results should be up on your screens now. They're not quite coming through, so you might have to refresh the overlay, but if not, we can still run you through the order as it appears on your screens on the left hand side and talk you through the order. So Alex Everett takes the first race victory of the season here at Homestead Miami, a margin of almost 5 seconds clear of Thijs Barendregt. Both those two drivers getting their season off to a great start there. Strong performances from the pair of them. Jeremy Pronk there, third place, might be left feeling that he could have got a little bit more out of that race, but still will take some comfort in the way he raced and the pace that he showed here. If he can just get the strategy down right, he will be a very strong force to be reckoned with as the season progresses. You can count on that. Andy Scott, great stuff from him, coming all the way from the back to finish in fourth, just shy of the podium. But we'll expect to see him getting stronger and stronger as the season goes by, along with, of course, Ollie Peters, who was suffering a few setbacks early on, had a bit of a slide at the first phase of the race, went into the pits. That put him a lap down, but still came through in the end to finish on that lead lap and take a very strong 5th position finish. Alexander Roggenbuch there, the German driver, in the 6th place, ahead of Fran Herrera. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen there in the 6th place, and Shane Bliss rounding out the field there in 9th. But you know what? We have a driver here in the interview waiting room, and after what has been a very exciting end to the first race of the season, we can have a chat to this man. Alex Everett joins us in the commentary box. Alex, what a way to start the season. It was a strategy battle that you ended up coming out on top on. Talk us through that race.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. Very, very pleased with that. Very, very pleased. Didn't start off very well. I just seemed to struggle for grip in the early part of the race with the draft from the other drivers coming at me. But I made the gamble, which you probably saw quite emphatically, made the gamble to go in and get some fresh tyres, fill up the tank a little bit, because I knew this would be a 2-stop race. But yeah, that worked out hugely in my favour. If there was another caution, it probably would have been a different story. But yeah, worked out in mine and Thijs' favour.
Yeah, exactly. It did work out very well for you. But talk us through that battle you had with Thijs as well. Thijs Barendregt, we know how strong he is, finishing 2nd place only by count back of race victory. So you know how strong he can be. What was it like battling with him through the banking of Homestead?
Oh, it was good fun, real good fun. Including Ollie Peters as well in that. He was a lap down, but on the Discord we just said, "Nah, get stuck in, Ollie," and it was great fun. But yeah, it's always a pleasure battling with Thijs. Last season we had a great battle at I think it was Iowa. Nashville and Indianapolis last season. It was yeah, we've always had great battles. He's very, very talented on these ovals, and I thought he was going to pit me to the win today, but I just seemed to be able to get it on the later part of the stints, whereas he was quicker on the earlier part of the stints, so it worked out in my favour.
Yeah, it did, and obviously this is the first round of many this season. Is this maybe the start of a championship charge from you? Obviously, you came third place last season. Do you think you can maybe make it a couple better? Obviously, there are some stiff competition. I know Jeremy Pronk was looking very quick out there.
Yeah, you actually mentioned it. Yeah, Jeremy's looking very quick. I'm sure he'll bounce back next time at Phoenix. But yeah, I'm hoping. Well, I'm definitely hoping I can repeat this throughout the season. Phoenix next week. It's a track I really like. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go for another win.
Cracking stuff. The Phoenix circuit is going to be interesting to see all of that action unfold on Crest Autosport TV on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. But as well, Alex, we like to do a little thing here where we allow drivers to have a chance to shout out whoever they want to. So the floor is yours. Have you got anyone to thank for this race victory?
Well, first of all, I'm going to thank you, Ed, stepping in last minute on the comms. Thank you very much for doing that, and I'm definitely going to listen back through it. No, thank you very much, mate, as always, for a grand job. Will be on the cameras. It's his first race as a producer, and he's done a cracking job. I've had one eye on the stream and one eye on my driving, which is probably not the best thing to do, but no, it's been brilliant. So thank you to you guys. You're the only two people I want to thank at this moment.
Well, thank you very much, Alex, for putting all this together and having such a great race out there for us to talk through. That was very entertaining indeed, and we'll hope to see you, like you say, next time out at Phoenix in 1 week. So thank you very much, mate.
Thank you very much, guys.
And with that, as Alex exits the com box, it's time for us to say goodbye as well. But we do, of course, have a race in a week's time here on Crest Autosport TV. The Phoenix Legacy Circuit will play host to 125 laps of wheel-to-wheel racing action here in the Crest Autosport iRacing League's IndyCar Oval Series, obviously sponsored by Apex Tracks. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here this evening. I've been Ed May. Joining me as a producer this evening has been William Foyle. And all it's got to say from me and from William is that we wish you a very safe evening. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe.